Hi there, everyone. I am so glad that you've tuned in for this episode of Scenic Stops. We have a great show lined up. We're going to meet a lot of really interesting people, and we're going to visit some amazing places, and perhaps even spark some ideas for you to get out and enjoy, to explore and discover Northwest Ohio. Maybe give you an idea of a new place to go this weekend. So I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy. Let us be your tour guide across Northwest Ohio on this episode of Scenic Stops. The Scenic Stops crew and I traveled just north of Toledo up to Temperance, Michigan, and this is where we find a group of amazing women. Now I know that a lot of you out there, you like your sports, golf, baseball, even football, and that's where this story has a twist. These women play tackle football. Now, when I heard about this team, I knew I wanted to have the story on the show, and I cannot wait to introduce you to the Toledo Reign. I am here with the head coach of the Toledo Reign, Mitchi Collette, and you have an incredibly long history with women's tackle football going back to the 1970s. Tell me about how everything got started way back then.
The history with the Toledo Troopers that was created in the 70s, they existed 9 years and only lost 4 games, and they were the last 2 years. The Toledo Troopers are world champions 7 times in a row. No other pro football team has ever touched the history that the Toledo Troopers have.
Okay, so now we fast forward 40 years from the 1970s to today. Here we are in 2014, and you are still involved with women's tackle football. You are the head coach of these young ladies back here. So tell me, what is it that motivates you to be involved with this sport so much, decades of your life?
Football is a passion in my heart. When I played in the 70s, I also played in the 80s for the Toledo Furies. I loved this game, the competition, the camaraderie. I loved this game. And for me to play 13 years, I couldn't let that die.
So tell me then about your coaching style.
I would call my style hard-nosed sometimes, like my coach was, but also I coach with a lot of passion.
How does women's professional tackle football compare to men's?
With the guys, there is a feeder system like Pop Warner, you know, and they go to high school and they go to college, and you know, if they're lucky, they go to NFL. They've been doing that all their lives. Now, as with women's football, it's different because there is no feeder system. So the difference is, other than the gender, there really isn't a difference. This is competitive football. Like if you go and see college or high school or anything, you're going to see hard hits just as well as you're going to see it here. You know, it's just they want to play football, and I think women have that edge that they want to prove that they can play football just as well or better than the guys.
Please tell me, what is it that motivates you to be on a football team? I can't wrap my brain around that.
A lot of people can't. I played sports my whole life. I've been an ongoing athlete. I played all the sports I pretty much could in high school, and then college I ran track. So once getting done with that, I wasn't okay with being finished. I play wide receiver, I play safety, and I also kick.
Now, when you're not out here playing football, what is your day job?
I am an elementary school art teacher, and I also coach track and soccer at the high school I went to, which is Northview in Sylvania.
Katie, tell me, how did you first get involved with the team?
Well, it started when I was about 7 years old. My dad was one of the coaches, and I was one of the water kids. So during half times, during quarter changes, I'd be running out there with my water. And I thought it was just so cool. It's like, wow, these women are so tough. They're awesome. Nothing can stop them. And then came out of high school and finished my first year of college. And my dad's like, by the way, signed you up to play on the team. Came to practice, learned what a 3-point stance was, and off I went, and I kind of fell in love with it.
Kendra, tell me, how long have you been playing on the Toledo Reign?
This is actually my first year. I'm a rookie on the Toledo Reign, so this is all pretty much brand new to me.
And you're still in high school?
I am in high school, yes.
Excellent. And you're brave enough to get out there and play tackle football. What is it inside you that says you want to do this?
My initial drive is just the pure, raw love for the sport. I've loved football my entire life. I dream football. I, eat, sleep, breathe football. I mean, it's just such a huge passion of mine, and being part of this team is the biggest honor that I've ever had. I love everyone very much on a personal level, and I also think that everyone is extremely talented on the field. But I mean, not only are these my sisters, they're my teammates, they're my friends, they're definitely my partners in crime.
So there's someone out in the audience right now who is thinking about, oh, I think I might want to play women's tackle football. What advice would you have?
Come out and try it. I think a lot of people are a little scared or a little nervous. I don't know if I'll be good enough. I don't know what position I would be. Just come out and try it. We've found positions for almost anybody who comes out here. We find a spot for them, and they don't know what they're good at until they try it.
All right, we still have more scenic stops to come, and next up, we'll visit the Tiffin Glass Museum in Tiffin. Do you know of a unique place that I should visit, or maybe an interesting person that I have to meet? Well, I'd love to hear from you. Now, it's simple. You can like Scenic Stops on Facebook, and be sure to tweet #ScenicStops during the show. You can also play Scenic Stops trivia every week on Facebook for a chance to win some great prizes. Go ahead, it's really easy. Just go to facebook.com/Scenic Stops, and we'll see you there. Next up on the show, our tour takes us to Seneca County, where we visit a museum with over 2,000 shiny objects on display, some of which go back to the late 1800s. This scenic stop is to the Tiffin Glass Museum.
Glass pieces basically is chemistry function. You put pure silica in if you want pure clear glass, plus nitrate and several other items to make crystal, and if you want colored glass, you will add a metal oxide is how it's best referred to give it some sort of color. And in batches up to 1,000 pounds, sometimes there's only a few ounces of a metal oxide introduced into the mix to give the colors. (1888) was the initial visit to Tiffin by A.J. Beatty and Sons Glass Company. The Tiffin Board of Trade offered them a substantial amount of money, $35,000 cash, plus land and 5 years of free natural gas. They moved their 502 employees from Steubenville to Tiffin and began the factory. Well, the name Tiffin Glass actually evolved from when United States Glass Company bought out the Beatties in 1892. Tiffin Glass itself was never the official name of the factory. It was called Tiffin Glass and did evolve into Tiffin Art Glass for a short period of time in the early 60s. But there was never an official designation as Tiffin Glass as the factory name.
Well, I think we have so far accumulated a really nice gathering of things from very early and right down to the last production. They did a tremendous variety of glasses. You can see it's color-wise and type of glass also. Everybody has their favorite time, and their time frame depends on the colors and the styles, that type of thing. So if we have people that are interested in the 20s, 30s glass, then they're going to be enjoying the colors of that era, and some of them are stuck on the 40s, 50s, and some even later. So it depends on their personal taste and the colors that they love.
We've just recently opened an archival room which does display several different kinds of molds and explains the process of how the glass was made in molds, either blown in or pressed in. And it was either machine pressed or hand pressed. There were two types of operations there. But to briefly explain the difference, most pieces that are hollow and small are blown. Pieces that are solid are pressed glass.
I think the most unique things are the modern pieces that they only had for a limited time in production, and those were all hand done. They blew into a mold and then took their tools and shaped those to various catalog dimensions. And we've measured some of those when we were working on books. They're within fractions of inches of the catalog dimensions. That took skill, that took a lot of expertise on the parts of those finishers and the blowers themselves.
Well, strangely enough, some of the jobs were titled boys, carryover boys, gathering boys, and so forth. And very early in glass production, they actually were boys, 10, 11, 12-year-old boys working in the factory to do these hazardous jobs. When the child labor laws came into reality, those things changed, but the titles did not change. We have pictures of carryover boys. The gentlemen look to be in their 70s, so it's a little bit of a misnomer, but that was the name used throughout the glass industry for the various positions that had boys working in them originally.
The really beautiful things were the hand-fashioned things like the pheasants and the fish, all done by hand, but they shaped the bodies and took their tools, pulled the tails and so forth out to shape it and make it look very realistic. They just made what they liked and what appealed to them, and the workers were allowed to do that using glass left over from the day's runs, and they were allowed to take them home to their family and friends.
Many of the tools that were used to fashion and form glass were actually made out of wood that would be soaked in water until they were put into use.
I think the artists themselves created a lot of the things and shaped them to their desires and thoughts.
If you want to know what Tiffin glass feels like, pick it up and touch it. It has a satiny, smooth feel to it, where a lot of the other glass does not.
We've been here for 16 years. We still enjoy it all and appreciate the beauty of it and just the art of it.
Now from Tiffin, we travel beyond Northwest Ohio a little bit down to Dayton. It is here where an art gallery has a very special mission: to use art to express the human desire for peace. Here's more from member station Think TV in Dayton.
Home is where you are. So my home now is here. But I come from Rwanda. I came here because of the genocide and massacres. So I was looking for a peaceful place to be, and I found my peace. So this is my home.
I am struggling right now as a Caucasian woman with white privilege. And I have become so invested in the immigrant community that when I experience being treated differently because I am a white woman, I feel sick inside.
Peace is a state of mind. Sometimes we just cannot control the violence around us, the anger, the undesirable things. but the way we react to them, that's where peace comes.
3 women, 3 cultures, 3 very different life experiences. There is but one goal: to explore issues of peace through art.
Art allows you to be a change agent because you're putting your emotions into tangible things and putting it into the world. I have started an organization called The Compassionary, and we're focused on projects that will bring people together. The diversity of our community and the needs of our community coming together.
One of the things that I'm adamant about is art should be able to help break those partitions. Once you put a barrier between 2 countries or 2 cultures, whether it's a real barrier or an invisible one, it's really difficult to break it. And so that's where art comes. It really helps in one picture depict the other side. It makes us see what other people are suffering. Once you see a picture, then that image is with you. It's not gonna go away. What is peace? What is that supposed to look like? And it depends on each artist. And I'm very against telling an artist, this is a peace gallery and this is what peace is supposed to look like.
On Detroit Street in Dayton is a little-known art gallery, the Missing Piece Art Space. Gabriela Pickett, an artist herself, dreamed of owning her own gallery and studio. While working with International Red Cross in Europe, she was asked to organize an exhibition to benefit children in Estonia. With elbow grease and vision, she created the space for the exhibition, which went on to become the Missing Piece Art Space.
Art, it's a universal language. We don't have to know everybody else's language as long as we can depict emotions in a canvas, because it can create empathy. And to me, that's the trigger. That's the way that we can communicate. Not to mention that it's a way to explore our own feelings and issues that are bothering us so that other people can learn and see where we come from.
Gabriela and Jean are fostering empathy in Dayton's diverse communities through the Mexican tradition of Dia de los Muertos, which includes a parade and display of altars at Missing Piece Art Space.
It's whimsical, it's joyful, it actually takes the morbid out of death and makes it strangely palatable.
Not everybody can embrace Mexican art and the notion of the Day of the Dead, because we see death as a celebration of life.
Culturally, it's so unique. It's equalizing. We all have loved ones, we've all had loved ones pass, and we all have that memory. And to be able to come together and celebrate through this tradition is magnificent. So I created an altar for my dad this last year, and it was about art creating, and it was about finding ways that I could speak to my memory of my dad in a loving, honest way. I resolved things through that process that I didn't know I had unresolved.
In addition to curating the Missing Piece Art Space and organizing Dayton's Day of the Dead event, Gabriela has become the voice for immigrant reform in Dayton. It began with a knock on the door.
Originally, I started working with refugees from Central Africa. They literally came to the gallery asking for summer camps for the kids, and that's how I started working with them. Severa is just an amazing person. I believe in what she's doing, and that's why we partner with her.
Because of the war, many people died, so we have many kids who don't have parents. There is free schooling, but they need uniform, they need books, and then they need food. So some we give them school fees, others we pay for the uniform and materials, others we pay for like lunch for the whole year, and then they will be able to go to school and learn, because as we say, hungry stomach doesn't have ears.
Because of Missing Piece Art Space, Severa has improved her art skills and helped more children. In addition to selling her own jewelry, she buys items from artisans and orphans back home, sells them here, and sends the money back to pay for their school fees.
For me, when that that lady, that woman, that child is doing the art, like maybe he's sewing or weaving. She has this peace of mind. She's sitting with other people who are in the same conditions. They talk, they live, you know, they have that smile. So it keeps them live positively. As I said, peace, I understand that it starts by your heart, your mind. So it gives them peace by sewing, by doing that.
If you can sit with a pile of materials and begin to use your own memories to create something for someone else to see, there's a power in that expression that is beyond words. I think also in a community where we have so many languages, whatever you choose to use to create something that somehow is going to express a deeper set of feelings and beliefs and experiences, then we can build empathy between each other by sharing that art.
When I help somebody put a smile on their face, oh, I'm so happy. That's my big joy.
I don't expect people to come in here and go outside, out the door, you know, with a totally different perspective of life, but I would like to just instill a little seed, you know, for them to question their own social constructs, their own personal beliefs, and with the hope that maybe what I know as a norm is not necessarily true.
Our tour isn't over just yet, because up next we meet a talented and successful sculptor who creates wonderfully whimsical pieces of art, Mr. George Carruth from his shop in Waterville, Ohio. On Scenic Stops, we love to feature stories about talented artists here in Northwest Ohio, and I met one of our very best, and probably the most humble despite his incredible success. His sculptures are sold all across the country, and it was my pleasure to talk with Mr. George Carruth in Waterville. Here on Scenic Stops over the last couple of years, we have introduced you to many talented artists here in Northwest Ohio, whether they were glass blowers or welders, guitar makers, musicians, even an airbrush artist. Well, today I have a very special pleasure. I am here in Waterville, Ohio, and that is about 10 miles northwest of Bowling Green, and it's a town that sits along the Maumee River, and I am here at the production studios of a very renowned sculptor from Northwest Ohio, a very successful artist, Mr. George Carruth. And George, thank you so much for having me and the crew here today.
Thank you for coming out today.
It is such a pleasure to learn all about what you have done with your life, becoming an artist. First of all, how did you first get started as an artist?
So I was out of high school working on motorcycles, and my brother sent me information about an art school in Columbus, Ohio, Columbus College of Art and Design. So I went there. I thought I was in heaven, a school just for artists. And I was 28 years old. I was just starting to sculpt. I was just learning how to sculpt. So I started practicing using screwdrivers out of my old junky car, carving little faces, just practicing. And my wife, Deb, said, you know, those are really cool. You could sell those. But she signed me up for a little sidewalk sale in Perrysburg, and we sold all of our stones.
You have a store here in Waterville. It's called Garden Smiles. Can you tell us a little bit about that shop?
Well, Garden Smiles is right downtown in Waterville. It's a pretty drive coming to Waterville. It's right along the river. And in that store we have the whole collection of everything I make. But we also have work from about 25 other artists. So we have glass, jewelry, steel, ceramics, lots of good things in there.
Now, what is the material that you use? I understand you said you use dental tools for some of the carving.
Right. Well, some of the prototypes I do out of clay, an acrylic-based clay, and I use dental tools. But some of these I will actually carve in stones, Indiana limestone, and we make molds from them. And that's why they have that old world classic look to them.
Well, certainly people love your work. It's so incredibly artistic, and to know that it was made right here from someone from Northwest Ohio, we're very proud of that. So how many stores are you sold in, George?
Well, across the country there's about 1,000 stores, galleries, nurseries, gift shops that sell our work. We're incredibly lucky.
Wow.
And as I said before, my wife works just as hard as I do. Just she does all the behind the scenes work.
Yeah. Well, you're a wonderful couple, and it's been a pleasure to talk with you today here at your shop in Waterville. And right now, I've got some shopping to do because I have my eye on a couple pieces that I would like. So can we go? Can we
I'll
go and
show
shop
you
right
what's
now?
new.
Good. Well, that's all for tonight's episode of Scenic Stops. I certainly hope you enjoyed the show. We had a great time getting out and exploring Northwest Ohio and meeting some great people, including the Toledo Reign. I want to remind you that if you would like to see any of our previous segments, they are online on our website at scenicstopsohio.com. So go on there and check it out. You can also submit your story ideas, and we just might use your idea right here on the show. So thanks again for watching, everyone. I'm Kathleen Phipps, and remember, the view is always nice from our Scenic Stops. Well, that's all for tonight's episode of Scenic Stops. I certainly hope you enjoyed the show. We had a great time getting out and exploring Northwest Ohio and meeting some great people, including the Toledo Reign. I want to remind you that if you would like to see any of our previous segments, they are online on our website at scenicstopsohio.com. So go on there and check it out. You can also submit your story ideas, and we just might use your idea right here on the show. So thanks again for watching, everyone. I'm Kathleen Phipps, and remember, the view is always nice from our Scenic Stops. Coming up next is Northwest Ohio Journal with your host, Steve Kendall. What's the topic for us tonight, Steve?